What do you think Zion Williamson is worth this season to college basketball, if you were going to put a number?
Tens of millions of dollars, I would say. I just think that the ratings have been humongous when they have played. Ticket prices have been huge. That was the thing that really hit me. I talked to a ticket guy, before the tournament started, and we're looking at possibly having North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas all in Kansas City. And you think that ticket's going to be crazy.
Yep.
And the tickets in D.C., where Duke was going to be, were $100 higher than that. So, I mean, he is the biggest ticket driver I've ever seen in college basketball.
You also brought up that a lot of these teams are under investigation or the cloud of suspicion. You brought up what happened at Kansas, where an assistant coach is wiretapped. I guess he's talking to an Adidas rep who is telling him this is what it's going to cost if Kansas wants to get Zion Williamson into Kansas. So are we to believe then that only Kansas was the one who was alerted to this is what it was going to cost to get Zion Williamson, that nobody else had a conversation on that he just went to Duke to get a scholarship?
It stands to reason that everybody that was involved with Zion Williamson knew what the going rate was going to be. So, that if you don't think so, then I don't know what to tell you. The only thing that makes it plausible that perhaps Duke didn't pay is that he committed like 3 months after everybody had to go scared straight when the Feds blew everything up. And maybe by then the market had disappeared. And, you can't really walk around with your hand out at that point. But if before September 26, 2017, when the Feds went public with this, everybody who was recruiting Zion Williamson, I would think, had to know what it was going to cost to get Zion Williamson.
And we're not surprised. We've been around this a long, long time that these kids get paid. And, if I understand why they have their hand out. I mean, I understand it, and I would too. If I was Zion Williamson and I could better my family, better my life, still get, 1 year under Coach K, and then go to the NBA, I understand it. Because these kids, this is the only sport, aside from football, but they're not ready when they're coming out of high school, where we say, oh, you got to protect these kids. We don't care about kids in any other sport, but somehow we want to protect our brackets and, our March Madness here, which is what it comes down to.
No. Sure, you're right. And look, most of these kids are smart enough to know they've been commoditized from the time they're about 15 years old. The good ones, the really good ones, because, AAU teams are battling for them. Sneaker companies are coming in saying, yeah, we'll pay you $200,000 to sponsor your team. They're being asked to, live in one place and play for another team, an AAU team over here. They know what's going on here. So, yeah, for them to get to college and expect that say, oh, well, never mind, I'm now a pure amateur is incredibly naive.
What school is in the most trouble, do you think?
Oh, boy. I mean, I think LSU, from what we know right now, just because I don't think there is any way to misinterpret what Will Wade is saying on the wiretap. And that's going to be a tough one to explain. And as a matter of fact, he hasn't even bothered to try to explain it.
Oh, I know. And then he can't say, hey, I want to get out of purgatory. I want my job back here. And I'm like, no. If you explain what you're talking about with this great offer that you were giving one of your recruits. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the strong-ass offer, yes.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was hilarious. His statement was fantastic. It was basically, I want my job back because I want my job back.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna explain anything. I'm not gonna admit anything, but I just want to coach. So let me coach. Okay. Sorry, Will, it doesn't work that way.
I think Robert Kraft might have a better explanation for what he's guilty of than Will Wade at LSU.
I think so. Speaking of underground economies, yeah.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.